Megan here from Teach Me ABA. Today, this post is geared a little more towards parents because it is helping parents understand whether their child may or may not have autism. And we'll give a little bit of an overview of the symptoms of autism and also what you can do if you suspect that your child has autism. A lot of parents see their young children's behavior and wonder, should I be concerned? There are a lot of things that kids do that are concerning, but they're normal. Some things you should think about if you're worried about your child's behavior. Is this normal? Is this interfering with my child's daily living? Maybe they are a very picky eater, but there's a big difference between refusing to eat a majority of foods and just kind of not liking vegetables. So if you notice that your child is on the more extreme spectrum of this, then you may want to look into talking to your doctor about this. A lot of kids eat things that aren't food. That's just kind of a normal developmental phase that kids go through. But are they getting health issues from it? Is it causing mouth sores? Is it harmful? Are they doing things that are dangerous? That's when you might want to be alarmed. There are two main domains of symptoms. There are social and communication domains, and then there's also these restricted and repetitive behaviors that are really the hallmark of autism. Skills that fall into the social and communication domain are not responding when your name is called. So if you see that your child is getting up towards 18 months, then you call their name, but they still seem to not really recognize what's being said to them. If your child's not pointing to different objects to share interests, typically we see kids and, they're pointing, oh, look, there's a dog, woof, woof. If your child's not sharing those interesting things with you, even though they do have interest, when children get older, if they're not engaging in pretend play, if your child avoids eye contact, or if you're noticing any delays in speech, these may be things that can be helped a lot through early intervention. Then there's the domain of restrictive and repetitive behaviors that are part of the autism diagnosis. If your child gets upset by changes in routine, maybe you have to stop by the grocery store on the way home from preschool and they get really upset by that change. This can really impact your life, and it may be something that you need a little bit of professional help with. There's nothing wrong with that. If your child's not interested in a lot of different items or activities, maybe they only like Thomas the Train or Paw Patrol, one of those shows, and they won't watch anything else. It's really much more adaptive to have a variety of interests because they can roll with the punches if something that they have isn't available, or maybe they're meeting friends who have different interests. If your child gets really obsessed over items or activities and they just won't stop talking about the same thing over and over and over again, that may also be symptomatic of autism. Further, something that a lot of people stereotypically think of a child who's diagnosed with autism is repetitive movements. A lot of hand flapping when they get excited. I do that too, so it doesn't necessarily mean that there's an autism diagnosis there. Rocking their bodies, spinning in circles, or other repetitive movements may be indicative that there's a potential autism diagnosis there. There are some factors that make your child more likely to have autism. Just because these risk factors are present doesn't mean that your child has an autism diagnosis. It just may mean that you want to be a little more rigorous in screening for autism during those early years of their life. One risk factor is having older parents. Just because you are an older parent, it doesn't mean that if your child has autism that it's your fault. It's just something that is correlated with a higher likelihood of autism. We don't know if there's a cause and effect relationship or if there is, exactly what it might be. It's just something that may make you look a little closer if your child's demonstrating some of these autism symptoms. Autism can be hereditary or have genetic components. Therefore, if you have a family member diagnosed with autism, you may want to keep a closer eye on these sorts of symptoms in your child. Further, children who experience unusual medical situations such as seizures, gastrointestinal concerns, sleep problems, or even being born premature may increase the likelihood that your child has autism. So even if your child does end up with an autism diagnosis, it's not that abnormal to have an autism diagnosis. About 1 in every 68 children does fall into the realm of having autism. Is this just a phase? A lot of kids go through wacky phases. I've seen kids just kind of like lick everything. That's really normal. But if it occurs for a long period of time and it doesn't seem to be something that's passing, then you may want to talk with your doctor about maybe something isn't quite right and maybe your child does need a little bit of assistance. If you have any questions, please be sure to like our video and post your question in the comments section, and we'll be sure to get back to that in a future video.